I'm Chef Marcus Guiliano. I own a small restaurant over on the other side of the river. I consider myself a bit of a food activist. And the reason why I am is because I have a confession, I guess. You know, like they say, have a confession. I was killing you. I was downright killing you with the food that I was cooking. And I could talk to you for a week on the food and the production and everything, the chemicals and all that kind of stuff that restaurants can buy so cheap, and that they do, and they just give it to you like you have no idea. It's amazing. It is amazing and shocking. So I'm a food activist. But what do I do? I'm going to tell you why a food activist sort of isn't enough, because I own a restaurant. I have a lot of influence on what I can do. So what is a food activist? Environmental impact of food production, social impact of food production, political impact of food production, local and independent sources. So food's underlined because I want to replace food with sources. Because I own a restaurant, and there's much more than food in my restaurant. A lot more than food. And I have the power to change all of it. That's why I consider myself more than just a food activist. And of course, educating others is extremely important. And that's why I do events like this. And that's why I talk to anybody that'll listen to me. And there's a tape here. If this tape wasn't here, I'd be actually down in the crowd with you guys, because I love like getting involved, and I'm very energetic, if you haven't noticed, so known to jump off the stage and really get involved. So a lot of chefs love local. I love local. But today I'm going to tell you why local's great, but here's the bottom line. There's a direct correlation to healthy food and healthy planet. The less processed the food, the less packaged the food, the less chemicals, the less of everything, the healthier we are, the healthier Mother Nature is. It's that simple. There's a direct correlation to what we put in our mouth that was happening to our planet. I've said this for years. I've been doing this since 1998, 1997. I've been really, really gung-ho and totally immersed in this. So I did it one fork at a time. I started when I was 27. I did it one fork at a time, and I said, you know what? I'm making a change. I can see the change, and it's happening. So what happened after I realized, well, gee, it works for me? I said, now it's time to bring this into my business. I have a small restaurant. I influence 20,000 people a year by what they eat in my restaurant. That's the bottom line. 20,000 people walk in my door. I'm small. I wish I had 50,000 people walking in my door, because then I could really influence 100,000 people. So how did it start? One question. Back in 1998, 24 years old, I got a job as an executive chef at a country club. One question, one member asked me. I remember the lady's name. She said to me, Marcus, can you get us beef without hormones and antibiotics? I said, why are they doing that to beef to begin with? I didn't know that was going on. I had no idea. One question, that's all that it took. And my mind started turning. So what did I do? I did some investigating. I said, I have to find this out for myself. I said, I can't believe this. This is ridiculous. In culinary school, they don't teach us that. They teach us how to cook stuff medium rare and how to saute and this kind of that, and how to season things. They don't teach us about the social impacts, the political impacts, the environmental impacts. They teach us nothing of that. I was misled until this person asked me a question. So what did I do? I went and visited the cattle. I wanted to find out what was going on. I went to the farmers. I went to the fields. I went to the producers. I went to the processing plants. I was obsessed with what is going on. And it drove me crazy. The more I researched, the more I found out, the more disturbed I got. The more I couldn't work for another person. Because other restaurateurs are in line with making money, bottom lines, profits, which we're all entitled to make money, but I couldn't do that anymore. So in 5th grade, we had an assignment over the course of the weekend. Go out and pick mushrooms, it's raining. Every kid came back with 1 or 2 mushrooms. I came back with a basket. Just so you know, I'm an overachiever by nature. So that's where we're going with this. That's why I was in with the cattle, okay? I want to do my own research. So I'm an overachiever. That's another confession. So next trip was to a potato farm, conventional potato farm. See those black holes in the middle of the potato? Those happen in russet Burbank potatoes. That's what they make French fries out of. Most French fries in America are made from that potato. But the farmers don't like that. The food industry doesn't like that. McDonald's doesn't like that. Nobody likes what the potato looks like, so they have to spray the fields. I met a farmer who wouldn't eat his own potatoes because that spray right there will cause neurological damage. He said to me, Marcus, if I lose irrigation on my field, I will lose irrigation and lose my crop. I will not go in the field. I said, what do you do? He goes, I eat my neighbor's potatoes. He grows them organic. And I said, well, how does he grow them organic? You don't. He goes, because the russet Burbanks on the left there, they need the spray. The ones on the right, all those fancy potatoes, the Yukon Golds and the red potatoes, they don't need that spray. He also grew quinoa. I'm proud to say I buy quinoa from one of the only American quinoa producers. I've been on the farm many times. You can actually eat the leaves this time of year. It's like spinach. Great producer out in Mosca, Colorado, at 8,000 feet. Quinoa is a very interesting crop. Quinoa is the buzzword. I was on the farm back in 1997 before quinoa was really into the limelight. So, since 1979, he's been growing quinoa and he has 300 different types. So, what's more than a food activist? What's more than food? What else do restaurants buy? They buy booze, they buy wine, they buy beer, they buy spirits, they buy all kinds of things that impact. So, of course, I'm an overachiever, right? So, what comes next, naturally? Everything in my restaurant, including the booze. So, from one glass a year, we go to multiple glasses a year, 20,000 glasses a year. So, this is the fun part. You know, I love my job, and I don't consider it work. I consider it fun, and I have fun, and it's a passion of mine. So, doing this kind of stuff just really, really excites me. Rolling Rock, Latrobe, iconic American brewery, gone, gobbled up by corporate America. Hundreds of jobs gone. Budweiser owns it. It's produced in Newark, New Jersey now. Very disappointing. By 1980, we only had 40 breweries. 200 years ago, we had 2,000 breweries. Now we're back up to 2,000 again because the craft beer revolution has taken hold. So, bye-bye Rolling Rock. You can see it in the stores, but there's no more Latrobe. And this is what companies do. They buy up other companies, and they shut down the plants. You look at the production, Johnny Walker, there's no more Johnny Walker plant. It's a whole facade. Hundreds and hundreds of jobs gone. I spoke to somebody from there last year. Diageo owns it, a multinational conglomerate, 150 brands. These companies own 200-300 brands, 150 brands, and they have 10 production facilities. They buy a brand, close it, consolidate it, and when you walk into the store, you think, oh, this is some great thing. All you're paying for is the CEO's third vacation home. You're not paying for an owner's daughter's dance lessons. As an independent business, when I say buy local, support local, I can't turn around and then buy products like that. It's unfair. It'd be hypocritical to do that. So what do? Tons of research. Lots of research. I analyze everything. When somebody walks in or I see something that I might want to serve, I analyze it. I look at every single angle. I look to see if it's publicly traded. I look to see who the owners are. I call and ask to speak to the owners. There's a lot of confusion out there in my world. I can buy 25,000 different brands of wine in the state of New York. That's how many brands of wine are listed. And most of those just come from big conglomerates. And if you don't know, you don't know. So analyze and research. I look at every single angle I possibly can. On my wine list, I have notations of if I've met the owners personally or the winemaker personally. That's what it's about. Business is about relationships, right? So back to the classroom. What do I do once I find all this out? Because I have a lot to say. Lots to say. So what do? I do stuff like this, and I put a camera, and I go on YouTube. constantly. This is one of my latest videos. It has about 10,000 views. 99% of people eat this dangerous food. There's not a restaurant in America, maybe a small handful, that doesn't have this ingredient in it. And there's 4 or 5 multiple toxic ingredients. Everything from hexane gas. It's just, you have to watch the video. This is a whole nother topic. But this is the kind of videos I make. So I put these on YouTube. And I have fun doing these. A lot of fun doing these. And I get involved in the comments because people, for me, business is about relationships and about a community. So when I post videos, I love to interact with the people that make comments and really get involved. A lot of people really appreciate what I do with the videos, and it's there to educate people. Same thing in my restaurant. So it's a platform for me to actually educate and get in a conversation and share my passion. So that's one of the videos. So, of course, my YouTube channel gets 1,000 views a day. So 20,000 people in my restaurant and 1,000 views a day on my YouTube channel. Johnny Walker's parent company doesn't want you to know about their dark side. So of course, I explained a little bit about Johnny Walker, but there's 150 brands in that portfolio, and I believe that that company does have a dark side, and I talk about it, and I educate. And when people come in to my restaurant, they know, like, oh, you're gonna give me something different tonight. And they leave it in my hands. They're like, you know I like this, or I like this certain profile, and I pick it out and they love it. People come to my restaurant and say, you're the only place that I can go and make a good, solid choice of where my dollar goes. And I know that what I'm gonna get is a good quality to begin with. I tell people, you don't need to pay for $1 million ad campaign. When you see anything, any food company, anything that's advertised as full-page ads, any wine, any spirits, you don't deserve to pay for that. You deserve to pay for the product in the bottle, the product on the plate. So what can everyone here do? Same thing Jane did to me back in 1998. She asked me one question. That was it. One question. Can you get beef without hormones and antibiotics? You never know what that one question will make an impact on somebody. One question. That's all it took. When you go to a restaurant, when you go to a farmer's market, when you go to a grocery store, ask about your food. When you go to a wine shop, ask about your wine. Ask where it's from. Ask who made it. Ask as many questions as you possibly can. The people who know will tell you. The people who don't know won't say anything. That's a dead giveaway. People say, I don't know the questions to ask. Ask anything. And you know what? There's always a chef out there. There's always somebody out there that's willing to be made, that's willing to have some kind of impression made upon them. Just like I was. I was 24 years old. I'd cooked all over the world, and I thought that my food was it. And in reality, looking back, I was killing people. I was killing our environment. As a result of me switching my diet, I got off of 6 medications, lost 40 pounds, could never run a quarter of a mile to save my life. I ran 1,400 miles last year. So one thing you can do, ask a question. That's, you never know what happens. You never know where that question's gonna go. So I wanna thank everybody. This has been a lot of fun. And I guess it's lunchtime.